Ultra Custom Night's character roster is sizable to say the least, housing 545 characters. It is honestly impressive, and there have definitely been some hurdles to overcome. However, something that we have to realize is that before Ultra Custom Night, almost a year ago now, if I asked you to name every FNAF character you can think of, you could probably give me 300 to 400. And the idea that you can name 550, and even more so make that into a game, is terribly impressive. Now, in this video, we're not going to discuss the gameplay of Ultra Custom Night, because honestly, I love it. And we're not going to discuss a lot of the outside aspects. We're just going to focus on the character roster. We're going to cover a dilemma that Ultra Custom Night has provided from itself and its incredibly large roster. And, you know, even eventually, how that dilemma was, well, solved. So, let's talk characters first. Now, in Five Nights at Freddy's 1, let's say that beforehand, you could name as many characters as you could in FNAF 1. You could probably name Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, Foxy, Golden Freddy, Endo 1, Cupcake, Phone Guy, Mike Schmidt. 9 characters maximum, that's good. And overall, I'd say that's even pushing it a bit, but that's fine, right? That amount of characters. Now, in Ultra Custom Night today, there's 21 FNAF characters, which is over twice as many. You see, some of these characters aren't what you or I might consider characters beforehand. They're characters like Fan or Poster Golden Freddy, and even though some of these characters make logical sense, I think nobody would expect or even count them even today. But those characters are incredibly controversial. Let's focus on something more broad. So, in naming every FNAF character beforehand, you probably might not count the merchandise characters as Blacklight Freddy, as an example. And I think if you were to count Blacklight Freddy, then you'll need to count Blacklight Foxy and different iterations of those Foxies and tell, well, what do you have? That's official merchandise licensed by Scott. So therefore, it is official, no more official than Chica is. And I think when facing that fact, the number of characters blows up in size. If Blacklight Freddy's official, then why not this top for a pen, Cuppet, as the pinnacle of merchandise? Now, if you were to count every merchandise character, the number would skyrocket, right? It's gonna be like, I'd say maybe 1,000, considering how much merchandise there is. And Ultra Custom Night doesn't stretch for that field goal. It simply sets the principle of what it could become. And it opens many doors like that. I think the Quid door has been opened, the FNAF AR implementation has been opened with a few characters, but never fully realized. And I think when you face that problem of adding one-off characters like Microwave, and in that sense, you're never going to be able to complete them all because, well, the game simply doesn't have that much space. So then it becomes a battle for the coveted title of having this special implementation of a huge range of FNAF characters being specifically in this one game with everyone else. And this battle is, well, I mean, still going on today. The entirety of character ideas is faced with this. However, instead of closing or stopping to open, I should say, some of those doors, they keep being opened upon Ultra Custom Night's updates. And I think small changes, like Teaser Freddy, is a prime example. So, Teaser Freddy was originally called Freddy up until, I think, version 1.3 something. I don't really know off the top of my head. But the point is that Freddy from Ultimate Custom Night got separated and was renamed to Teaser Freddy, and then Freddy Fazbear was actually added. Now, the difference between these two is a specular, a tiny modeling detail that nobody would notice up until that point. And I think calling it a separate character is a stretch, but it makes logical sense. And by that logic, we can add in a lot more Five Nights at Freddy's 1 characters. Take Golden Freddy, for example. Now, Golden Freddy is, in our basic list earlier, only one character, and that makes sense. However, in his poster, Golden Freddy simply appears eyeless with teeth in the poster, right? And then in your office, he appears once again with teeth, but with little white dots in his eyes. And then finally in his jump scare, he has no teeth at all, or eyes. So, by proxy, would each one of those appearances technically be a different character because, well, there's differences in the model. And I think that's the gray, vague line that we begin to draw at. Because, well, truly, yes, technically, we could call that a separate character, but what's the point in calling it a separate character? Hell, we still haven't added more obvious ones, like Gear Rat, Bubba, or Pork Patch from FNAF World. And I think opening up those doors allows for more FNAF 1 implementation, which nobody would have thought about. And while I do enjoy that, I think the frustration that the community can receive from additions like this is overwhelming. When you haven't added more obvious characters, people are going to push for those characters to get in and stop the more obscure ones, and there's controversy, fire, flames, death! Not really death, but like, you know, it very well could be. And that's where the problem arises, is when you realize that this game is never truly going to be complete, and all that you can add now are subtle implementations and nods to previous ideas, but you can never complete it all. You'll never feel a sense of completion, and that's the dilemma, is that we cannot make this truly fulfilling game no matter how many characters we cram into it. There simply isn't enough space. And so that's the dilemma that we're stuck with. Not stuck with anymore, however. For you see, there has been an implementation. As of update 1.6.3, there is a solution. With the downgrading motivation to work on Ultra Custom Night, the main developer, Camille, has decided that he doesn't really want to implement any more characters. We've reached 550 at this point. That's crazy, but you still need to make more. You can't leave everyone hanging with one-offs, and you have to keep going to reach this sudden fulfillment that people think that they can achieve, and that's frustrating because you can't please everyone. However, once again, as of version 1.6.3, we found our solution. Camille says, instead of me making characters for you, make them yourself. There's an infinite range of possibilities here. There's this character creator, and we can create any character with any mechanic. They don't even have to be related at this point. We could add Robotnik or Boyfriend from Friday Night Funkin'. Nobody will care. We can download it as mods for the game, and we can play with characters that probably would never have been added otherwise. Hell, I could add Virtual Gumball Machine, which is one that I suggested in character ideas a long time ago. And we can add Game Over Freddy 2. We can add everyone that we want. We can fill the gaping hole that's been inside us from that lack of fulfillment. If there isn't a character in the game, then simply add them. And although we're still probably never going to reach that sense of fulfillment, and the doors opened is far more than the ones that we can close, it's a sense of being able to at this point. It's a sense of being able to create that closure. And I think with the 1.6.3 update, everything is going to change. As of now, it hasn't been released. And I'm terribly excited for what the future might bring with this update. How many characters are we going to implement? What kinds will there be? Are there any limitations? And if so, how large are they? And how difficult will it be to make these characters? And so many other questions that linger over us. But I think as the update gets closer, we're gonna realize a large shift, more towards a creative drive to do that, and then play those updates. So think about it like Mario Maker at this point, where it's more of half the community is more creative, and the other half is eating it up to then make the other side feel satisfied and themselves feel satisfied. It's a trade that doesn't require any work from Camille's end and provides infinite fulfillment for this gaping hole. But overall, that was the Ultra Dilemma. I hope you enjoyed. This was fun to make. We're coming up on the anniversary of Ultra, and I think it might be fun to make not a world record progression, but a leaderboard progression from the very beginning. And, you know, might just be fun to make a basic gameplay overview, since there's 550 mechanics to go with, and an infinite amount more once the character creator comes out. But that was the roster. I think that's the biggest controversial topic of Ultra, the roster. But who knows? You know, plans for the future. Maybe for the Ultra Custom Night anniversary, I would love to do an interview with Camille. Not like a face-to-face, no. But just like message him a few questions on Discord and then read them out on video. Kind of interview. Anyways, yeah. So, that was cool. Virtual Gumball Machine, definitely gonna happen in 1.6.3. But yeah, other than that, I'm gonna go. Bye-bye.